So now we've talked about the types of apartment, we've talked about the types of stays if you're new here, and we've also talked about the types and easy apartments to get when you finally are settled here. The next thing is going to be, what are the things you should consider when you're trying to get an apartment, right? You want to find out if the apartment, if the landlord stays in the apartment or they stay outside of the apartment. For people that do not necessarily like people poke nosing into their businesses or kind of somebody like monitoring them, you might not necessarily want to go for somewhere that your landlord stays with you. Another thing is you want to know how the utilities are being paid. Are you supposed to pay separately from your rent? Let's assume that your rent is 800. Are you going to be paying like an extra $50 for your utilities, or is everything inclusive in the 800? You also want to know if you're going to pay for the hydro, all these things. You want to make sure you're asking and know what it is that you're signing up for, because some houses will tell you, oh, 800 is the fee, and then when you get there and you want to go view or something like that, they tell you that, oh, that's exclusive of the utilities, the toiletries. And some houses do have a plan. They tell you that, oh, just pay 30%, everybody splits the bills when it comes. Or some houses will tell you, we get toiletries, so everybody drops $10 every month. So it all depends on what it is that the owners of the house and what you are comfortable with. But you want to make sure that you are also considering all these factors before you literally go into getting an apartment. Another thing you want to try and consider if you want to get an apartment is if the apartment is fully furnished, not furnished, or partly furnished. So partly furnished may be that the apartment has like a mattress and a bed, but it doesn't come with a side drawer, it doesn't come with a wardrobe, it doesn't come with like a mirror and all that stuff. So you might have to get those things yourself. Fully furnished is it comes with virtually everything: a side bed, a side drawer, a bed, a mattress, mirror. Everything is well placed. While not furnished at all is it doesn't come with anything, it's just a space, you have to furnish it yourself. Now if you're just moving into Canada, let's say you're a student, I would definitely advise that you go for a fully furnished apartment or a partly furnished apartment, because honestly, you're just starting your life, you don't necessarily have like a very stable job that is paying you. So it's very advisable that you stay in a fully furnished shared apartment or a basement, except you are like, extremely rich and you can afford to take other kind of apartment. That is what I would advise as a student. Also, you don't want to start using all your money to rack up furnitures and buying stuff that you need for the house, because furnitures here are quite pricey. If you want to get a bed, it's about $500 for like a good bed, and yeah, something like that. And then that's just the bed, you've not gotten your mattress. If you want to get a mattress, if you're going for the king size or the queen size, you have to budget something above 350 to 500. There are beds, mattresses that are worth over 1,700, sometimes $1,000. It all depends. So as a student that is just moving here, and it's literally a temporary stay, because when you finally get a job and you're more stable, you definitely want to move out. I do not recommend that you go for a not furnished apartment and you start buying the furnitures, and when it's actually time to move out is another problem, because you will still end up moving out. However, if you're here to kind of like stay permanently, say you have like your PR or you have a family and you're sure that you guys are going to be here for like a longer time, then you can go ahead and get like a non-furnished apartment and furnish it yourself, because you do not have to be moving around a lot. But for students, I would definitely advise that you get something that really works with your movement, because when you eventually finish school, you don't necessarily even want to be based in the province you probably schooled. You probably want to move to another province. At that point in time, you probably have to either start selling stuff or and at this point it just will literally stress you. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that you get a furnished apartment for like a student, and if you know that you are the type that would probably like change your environment a lot. However, if you're the other kind of person, then a not furnished where you furnish it to your taste will probably work for you. Another thing is, I'm sure that you might be wondering that should you get like a short lease or like a long-term lease. So it is all dependent on the kind of person you are. As a student, I would not necessarily advise a long lease, like a long-term lease. I would advise like a short-term lease, even if the person that you're going to is kind of like a month-on-month payment. That even works better. So if at any point in time you become uncomfortable in the apartment, or you don't necessarily like what's going on, you're just tired of staying in that area, then you can up and leave and just tell whoever it is you got the house from or the landlord that, oh, you know what, I'm moving out next month, because I know that you have to give like a 1 month notification before you kind of say you want to up and leave. But imagine if you've gotten like a six months lease, and then at some point you're just literally tired and everything. It then gets a bit harder, and it won't be as hard as if you've signed a 1 year lease. So you just want to be sure that this is what you want. So if you're signing a 6 months lease, to be on a safe side, I would say sign a 6 months lease if you're a student, or if you're somebody that definitely loves changing environments, and you probably feel like the vibe you're getting from a certain place can literally change. You will probably do well when you sign a 6 months lease. However, 1 year lease would not necessarily give you that flexibility, because you literally have to stay there for 1 year, and it's at the end of the 1 year you can now say you want to go. So yeah, short term, long term, it all depends on what you're hoping to get. For a family, most of the time, if you're getting certain apartments, such as for certain places like condos, apartment buildings, some of them tell you that they want you to sign a 1 year lease. And yeah, that's that about that. So it all depends on the kind of apartment you're getting and what you also want as a person, right? Another thing you want to also look into is, if you're getting like an apartment, let's say you're getting like a basement or whatnot, you want to find out, like I already said, is there like a parking space? Even if you're getting like a shared apartment, you also want to find out if there's like a parking spot, how this parking is, how it works in the area. You want to make sure that you know all these things, because if you drive or you own a car, you want to know that your car is secure. However, for apartment buildings, they usually come with like the parking lots, the parking space, so you do not have to worry about that. Same as condos and townhouses, some of them have like a parking space and everything ready for you. So yeah, I think that's basically everything you want to kind of like consider when you're trying to get an apartment, and make sure you know all these things before you get an apartment. Another thing is, it's very important that you get like an agreement when you're getting an apartment, right? It helps you to kind of refer to the document. Just the way a document binds two people, it's very easy for you to refer to the documents, because some landlords can come and say they want to change their prices, they want to change whatever it is. So at this point in time, you can easily say that, you know what, this is what we agreed on for this period of time, so you can't necessarily do this to me. So just make sure you're ticking all the boxes of everything that I've mentioned, and if there's anything I didn't mention or you would like to know, let me know in the comment section. So now to the last thing that I'm going to be talking about, I guess, is going to be things that you should expect when you're trying to get a house in Canada, like basic things that you would hear people say here in Canada landlords demand for. One, the payment is month-on-month basis, so you pay your rent every month. Every month you have to pay a certain amount. So let's say you're paying 800 every month, you have to pay 800 every month. And it also depends on the time you move into the apartment. If most of the time houses open up on pages, and landlords open up their houses for rental during the 1st of every month and the 15th of every month, so you can gauge when you need to pay. So every 1st of every month you need to remit your payment, or every 15th of every month, depending on what your landlord wants. Secondly, I already mentioned that you should make sure that you sign a lease. Even if you're staying for 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, whatever period you're staying for, you want to make sure that you sign a lease, because it's like a binding contract and an agreement that kind of, states to the things that you sign to, or the benefits you're supposed to get from the house over this period of time. So there is no shockers or anything that the landlord is going to bring down. You know what, I'm going to change the utility bill, I want to do this, I want to do that. You can easily refer to this document or this agreement that this is what we agreed on and this is what I'm going to follow. So you want to make sure that you also sign an agreement. Next thing is, sometimes it's very, very hard to kind of find an apartment, because houses are like gold outside the country, especially if you have like a very, very strict preference. So you can always offer, like when you're chatting with because all these houses that are listed online on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, they usually have like a contact for the seller or for the person that is leasing, or the landlords. So you want to always kind of prompt them by saying that, oh, I'm able to pay for 2 months upfront, I'm able to pay for 3 months upfront. So that kind of makes it like juicy and makes them believe that, oh, you're able to pay for your rent faster, and people will kind of take you more seriously than if you're just messaging, oh, how much is the rent, when can I pay half and everything. Nah, you just want to go straight up to say, you know what, I can cover 3 months right now because I really like the apartment. I can come check it right now. I want to pay for it right now. So all those kind of things kind of makes it easier for you to get like a place, and it's like a trick, right? Just a tip for you to make things easier. Next thing is your security deposit. So for every apartment that you would be getting, I believe that there's going to be a security deposit for everything. So sometimes it's usually half of the rent. So most of the time, let's say that you have your rent is 2,000 per month, your security bill is going to be 1,000, and you pay this bill just once. So as you're getting the apartment, your rent is 2,000, you need to budget another $1,000 to pay for the starting month. So you're going to be paying $3,000 on your first payment. Same thing goes for shared apartments, same thing goes for basement, and this deposit is usually like refundable, right? If you do not damage anything, if you don't spoil anything, if everything is intact when you decide to move out, you get your full payment back. So yeah, security deposit is something you should expect when you're searching for an apartment, and budget for it. For newcomers that stay in Airbnbs and everything, there's usually like a damage deposit and all that. And when you're paying for all these apartments on Airbnb, trust me, there's usually a hold on your card. So they debit a certain amount, or there's like you already imputed your card details, so there's a way they can actually debit. So just make sure that you're not spoiling anything or ruining anything when you're leaving the Airbnb, because you feel like, oh, whatever, they're not going to know. If they find out later on, they are able to debit your card at any point in time. So yeah, that's just one thing I thought to mention for for newcomers that are hoping to kind of stay in like a shortlet or whatnot. So the final thing that I'm going to say now is for people that are hoping to kind of get like a big space, say you want to come in and start staying in a condo, or you want to stay in a townhouse, or you want to stay in apartments. Some of these apartments or accommodation types, they require credit score, right? So if you're new here, you obviously do not have like a credit score, right? So what you want to do is explain to them that you have bank statement and you're able to pay your rent for a year, right? So your bank statement that you've used to kind of get your visa, you can show them the records that, oh, this is the way money enters your account, because most of these people, they want to know that you are able to afford the payment every month, and whatever it is that you're getting from any source of income or any revenue you're generating from any kind of business you're into, it has to be ×3 of the rent you have to pay every month after taxes. So they would definitely ask you, there's always a form to fill, like, okay, how much are you earning, where are you working, we need 2 references. Some of them will even go as far as asking you to bring 2 references from where you stayed previously. So for newcomers, we definitely don't have any of these things, and obviously for students too, I think that's quite a stretch for a student. But like, there are so many people that do not necessarily buy the idea of staying in like a shared apartment and everything. Not to worry, you just have to show your records, your bank records, the fact that you can afford your bills. If you have like a sponsor, you just need to show them the proof and everything, and then you would be good to go. Some people might not agree to this kind of system, but you might just be lucky. But like, that's another way to kind of like answer to all those kind of questions. When they ask you what's your credit score, you just need to tell them, oh, I'm new here, I do not have a credit score, however, I have enough money to foot my bills, to foot my rent and every other thing here in this country for so period of time. So they are able to believe that you can afford the rent, and they won't have to even struggle with you. Also, another thing you can do is just tell them that, you know what, I'm going to pay for 3 months upfront, which includes your security bill. So let's assume you're paying 2,000 for your rent. That means 3,000 plus 2,000 plus 2,000, that's about $7,000 that you will have to remit once you're getting an apartment. This is just to show that you can actually afford to pay for this apartment, and then they can take you seriously. Because trust me, as you're looking for an apartment, as you're liking an apartment, other people are also checking the apartment. So usually they screen these people and pick the best person, right? So even if you have the money, if you have enough money, it does not necessarily mean they're going to pick you, because here they have like preference and they have who they want to give their apartment to. But I hope you're one of the lucky people that they give an apartment to. when it's time to search for an apartment. I feel like that's everything you need to know on securing an apartment or an accommodation in Canada. And yes, I wish you all the best in your search. And if there are any other questions that you might have, just feel free to drop it in the comment section and I will be sure to answer them. So do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video with somebody you feel might need it. And don't forget to like this video and watch all my previous videos. Bye.